Hello, gorgeous soul. I am Chloe Rose, and it is a beautiful, sunny, not sure if you can see it, Tuesday afternoon here in Oxfordshire in the UK. I nearly just tripped then. and again. Right, gonna keep my eyes forwards. I wanted to continue today the conversation about codependency. And if you're new here, hello, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the weird and wonderful and magical world of mystic hearts. And if you don't know already, there's a whole playlist called Weekly Wandering and Pondering, and you can find a whole load of these videos where you will find me wandering around beautiful places in nature here in Oxfordshire in the UK. Most of them are in Oxfordshire, where I am having totally unrehearsed, candid, spontaneous conversations with myself, which are of reflective, spiritual, personal, and also just collective energy, connecting with magic and nature, along those lines. So if those things tickle your fancy, please do give this video a thumbs up and check out the playlist as well. I've been doing these videos for just over a year now, so there's a whole collection, and you'll be able to see some of my own journey and transformation throughout recording these videos too, which can be quite a fun experience. So, codependency. You will see that I did a short about this at the weekend, and just to reintroduce you to this topic, I very recently turned 36 years young, and for some reason, which I have now discovered, which I'm going to dive into, but for some reason, this year, for the first time in my life, I had this huge realization that for my whole life, I have been in a back-to-back series of codependent friendships and romantic relationships. And this was huge for me because I'd never thought of myself as a codependent person. When you know me, I have a lot of very independent personality traits as well, and I'm an only child, so I do have that only child syndrome where I like my own company, and I do really actually cherish spending time by myself. But there's something deeper under the surface of the skin that I discovered, is that I have been, not anymore, because we break free, I have been in this string of codependency because I have been valuing my own sense of worth via my relationships with others and how much other people need me. And that was like a pretty hard pill to swallow and a kind of moment. And I've now coined codependency as the codependency curse. And the reason why I've called it the codependency curse might not be what you're thinking. I'm not saying we're all cursed. The reason why I'm calling it the codependency curse is because curses can be broken. And that's what we're here to do, right? Break through our ancestral patterns and our bullshit that's keeping us in the way of being the most magical, fantastical, badass, kind-hearted, liberated souls in human form that we can be. That's what we're here to do. Face the fears, feel the pain, and break through those curses. Yeah, and I wanted to explore it a little bit more, because since I shared that reel, I've had a few more revelations that I want to share with you. And now I really have started to come to realize that codependency, I believe, is one of the most common trauma responses in all humans, but also in animals. Because if we think of things like separation anxiety, a lot of pets get separation anxiety, and I'm sure, I haven't done my research on this, so you can quote me if I'm wrong and I won't get offended, but I'm sure like there's some breeds of animals that get separation anxiety from their fellow tribe, or their partners. I'm sure of it. So yeah, it's very, very, very common that we, because of some trauma, some situation from when we were young, causes us this real deep bottomless pit of yearning, of constantly feeling the need to fill that void with external validation from people around us, whether that's in our close relationships and partnerships, friendships, work colleagues. For each of us, the pattern will play out strongly in more different areas of our life. But I just find it interesting, the more that I'm opening up to seeing it in myself, the more that I'm recognizing how common it is in so many people. So many people. If you even think about, there's just a car coming past, so I'll hold that thought for a moment. If we even think about heartbreak, right? Why do people get so torn apart with a whole spectrum of emotions when we break up? Of course, because it hurts when we love someone. But there's a lot more to it, I believe, than that. It's because we have, for so long, placed so much of our worth and our value upon the relationship and the way we are intertwined with that other person, that when it comes to an end, it's like a shock to the system. And if that system is still rooted in the wounds of the trauma that caused the codependency in the first place, we're going to feel all of that bubbling up to the surface again. You know, and I felt that last year. For those of you who are new here, over a year ago, just over a year ago, about 13 and a half months ago, I broke up from quite a long relationship where we were living together. And I wasn't, for this time, probably this is one of the first relationships that I've experienced a breakup where I didn't feel sad. And I know that sounds totally heartless, but you don't know the whole story, so don't judge me. It's because the breakup process had been happening long before the actual physical separation happened. I didn't feel sad, but what came instead was a grief of this loss of myself that had taken place through that relationship, because I had attached myself to the person that was not in alignment with my highest and best good. And that's a really toxic trait of codependency, is attaching our worth to someone who is just really not good for us, and not saying bad about anything. You know, I was not right for my partner either. Like, I was not serving his highest and best good. Yeah, so it was a huge shock to the system to have this breakup and feel this deep, bottomless pit and well of grief, and really had to sit with that. I was like, oh my God, I totally lost myself during those 3 years. And that was heartbreaking. So it was almost like the breakup had been flipped on its head. And I did a lot of healing work, and this video is not intended a space for me to trauma dump. I'm just not in the mood today, and I don't actually think it's that relevant, but basically I did a lot of healing work because of that breakup, because I was just like, why did I let myself stay for so long in a situation that I knew right from the beginning was not serving my highest and best good. And basically it was a pattern to do with my father, where I felt abandoned. So my whole life I've just been desperately searching for love, but also because I have these goggles on all the time where I choose to see the best in people, but not anymore. So I've done a lot of healing work. I'm not going to go into the details of what I've done over the past year, but a lot of ceremonies, inner child healing, witch wound healing. I've done a lot of inner work. So I released that pattern. So that was the abandonment wound. But I didn't realise that there'd be more. And the codependency has literally just started coming in. Just going to take a moment to appreciate the forest. I love walking at this time of day. It's like 4 p.m. in the UK. This is like one of the most, like between 4 till 6 p.m. right now. It's just the most beautiful time where the sun is not setting, but it's low in the sky, and all the birds are singing. Oh, it's just like so magical, and there's sunlight splinters everywhere. Oh. So yeah, it's taken a year of being totally on my own. Like this last year I've been totally on my own, and it's been amazing. It's felt so good. It hasn't felt lonely or isolated. It's been exactly what I needed. But it's taken me that long to really recognize this pattern. And something that makes me laugh is that, so also in this past year I've been spending a lot of time with my mum, my beautiful mum. And it's funny because obviously our parents and our close family teach us the biggest lessons and can be our biggest triggers at times. And I always thought that she was really codependent and always like needs to be with people or around people, and she's different to me, whereas she loves being very sociable and she would much prefer to be with someone than to be on her own, whereas I'm different to that. Like I actually crave and desire alone time just as much as I do spending time with others. So we are different in that sense. Oh, I just went under a little portal archway. Let me see if I can get the camera to show it. Yeah, there we go. Oh, there's so many of them here, entering into an elven realm. So I always used to get really triggered by how codependent my mum is. Obviously I know the reasons why, and I'm totally compassionate for why she is the way she is, and I've got nothing but love and respect for her. But I used to get so triggered by it. Like I'd be like, I need my alone time, and she's like, I need company. And it would just be like this push-pull. And finally it hit me in the face. The reason why I get so triggered by it is because this own wound of codependency is bubbling up to the surface for me. So I just wanted to breathe with that for a moment. The one thing that we can spend our whole lives resisting or running away from or getting triggered by can be our biggest teacher, and all we've got to do is just lean into it. Lean into it with love and compassion and understanding. We can still separate ourselves, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I thought, oh, it just makes me laugh. Life is just full of jokes like that. So that was one thing that I wanted to tell you about. For anyone else who can relate with codependency or feeling like they just haven't had much time in their lives where they've actually been able to make decisions that are fully selfish in a way. Like, I truly realised that up until this past year, there's never been a time in my life where I've been making decisions for me. It's been always to try and impress or please a friend or a partner, or just to like surrender to them because I can't be bothered to say any different. I used to be scared to have an opinion when I was younger. And those who know me now would probably laugh at that, because I have pretty strong opinions, for those that ask me about them anyway. I don't force them on people. But yeah, I used to be scared to share my opinion. And that's all a part of the codependency, because why are you scared of sharing your opinion? Because you don't want someone else to not like you. Then that's what it's all about. It was this abandonment wound of, you know, if I say something wrong, this person's going to run away from me. And that's scary. But in actuality, if we're not our authentic selves, people probably will be a lot more unattracted to us. I don't mean that in a sexual way, just generally unattracted to our energy and our being. People won't trust us if we're not authentic. But the third one, and this is an icky one, if we are too scared to have an opinion and be our authentic selves, we are very easy to be controlled, used and manipulated. And this is a huge pattern that I've realised and I've released myself from now. Again, partners and friends. For me personally, there's some cycle stuff going on here that's very much friends and romantic partnerships more than family. I can see it reflected in family, but for me the patterns are friends and romantic partnerships. It's like that it's like for me, my pattern of codependency is outside of the family. That's where my trauma's coming up, and I'm like desperately clawing for love and acceptance from these people, but not anymore. Obviously, I'm talking almost like from the voice of the wounded self. And I can laugh about it now because I recognise it in myself. So it's almost like I love myself more because I've recognised this. So the weight of it isn't holding me down anymore, because I can just laugh about it and be like, oh, I'm just such a human. And I was really reflecting on what is the significance of this real stark self-realization coming up for me now in this time of my life. And I thought this might be quite an interesting realization to share, because often when we get these big self-realizations, or when we go through some tasks or challenges in our lives, it can be like a test, because we are moving towards a big milestone or a big leap. You've heard the term quantum leap, I'm sure. It's because we are on the precipice of really stepping into a new version of ourselves. And that can be, oh, I'm just going into like the most fairy glen part of the forest now. So this can be when these patterns come up to the surface for us, which is interesting. And so what I've realized is why this is coming up for me is because right now and for the past year I've been in a temporary living space. So I need to find a home. I need to find a place to live. I've been in a temporary living space, which is safe and it's comfortable, but it's not a home for me, and it's not a place that feels like my home or my space. So, for me, this feels so huge, because the last house that I lived in, I was sharing with my partner. And then before that, I did have my own house, but it was in Indonesia. So my lifestyle was different. In England, it's expensive. There's a lot of like rules and procedures and pressures, and things go wrong in houses and all of this stuff, that's in my head. And before that, I lived with friends. So again, it's this pattern that's coming up, this codependency. And I realized this is why, because I want to move into my own place, into my own space. So this pattern is coming up, to show me like you've had this pattern in the past, and I've always kind of leaned into other people to make things happen for me. However, they haven't always been what my heart and soul has truly desired. And I'm going to be totally and completely open and honest about this, and it feels a bit gross saying it, but honestly, like moving in with my ex-partner, the reason why I did it was to get out of the living situation that I was in at the time. We weren't ready to live together. I'm sure he would admit that just as me. We weren't ready to live together, but we were both using the move for our own needs. And that's something I recognized. And that is when this codependency trauma can really not work in our favor, because we are, and I was, relying on him to save me from my situation, when in reality I got to do this shit myself. And that's my lesson from this codependency pattern that's coming up, and that's why it's bubbling up to the surface, because there's just this fear of me being on my own and doing it alone and not having anyone to help me, and it feels sad and it feels scary and it feels very raw and real. So I just wanted to be totally honest and open about that. But I've been working on it. And what do I do when these patterns come up? Well, I lean into magic. I lean into magic. So some of my magic tools that I use are the power of my voice and my creative expression. So I do a lot of talking, you'll see here, writing, painting. So at the weekend, when this huge realization was flooding in, I was like, oh my God, I've spent my whole life totally dependent on other people, and putting all of my worth and sacrificing my own happiness for the sake of not upsetting others. When all of this came in, I decided, right, I'm going to write a letter, and it's going to be about the home first of all, because the root chakra is that stability and that foundation. So that's what I've chosen to work on first. So I did this journaling. I'm just going to sit down because I've actually brought my journal with me so I can talk you through this. And also the birds are just sounding really awesome here in the forest. And look, there's just this perfect little log there for me to sit on. Literally like it's waiting for me. So I thought that I would just read it to you, because we don't have to share everything, but if we share certain things, and I like to call all of my writing magical spells, so when we share our magic, it can amplify the power, as long as it's safe to do so. So I'm going to read you my little journal entry. And why I'm sharing this with you? Mainly because it's all a part of the healing process. So what I do when these self-realizations come up, or some painful emotions come up, what I really try to do is alchemize the sensations into something powerful, because all emotions, the full spectrum of emotions, are so powerful. They hold so much magic. That is energy in motion. So rather than letting this fear consume me and allowing myself to feel like a failure or loser or any of that mental programming, I say no, I'm going to channel this into something powerful. So let me read you what I wrote. So this is a future diary entry. 30th of September 2026. Oh my goddess, what a day. I've just moved into my new home. I feel so full of joy and gratitude that I aligned with an awesome, kind, laid-back landlord who is happy to rent to me privately. They didn't even care about me proving my income to them. I'm so happy that I didn't have to house share in the end, and I found a beautiful one-bedroom flat that is perfect for me. The bedroom is huge with lovely big windows which let lots of light in, a whole wall of wardrobes, and enough space for a big double bed and plenty of floor space. The bathroom is quirky and I love it. The walls are painted dark pink and the fittings are really funky. And of course there's a bath, shower, toilet, and plenty of ledges and alcoves for all of my houseplant babies. The kitchen is lovely and spacious with a gas stove and a large fridge. I'm really excited to cook here and host friends and my partner. The living room, separate to the kitchen, is big, bright and spacious. I have my desk, an office space set up in the corner by the window, and a big squishy L-shaped sofa in the centre of the room, which has a massive floor space, which I filled with a Gothic rug. There's loads of space for me to practice and teach yoga and do my home workouts, and the ceilings are nice and high. I feel bursting with happiness that I now get to make all of the personal touches to really make this space feel like home. It feels nice not to be on the ground floor, and I have a little garden which has space for a table and chairs and a sunbed, and it gets the sun most of the day. I feel like a fairy who has found her glen. The neighbours are calm and quiet, and I feel really safe in the area. My mind, body, heart and soul have finally found peace. I'm so ready for this new stage of my life journey that I have made the space to expand, ready for my magnificent butterfly wings to fully open in all their glory. I'm ready to be me, fully, authentically, completely, in my little temple of self-love. I'm so proud of myself and incredibly grateful for all of the seen and unseen forces that have helped me to get here. And so the next chapter of the quest begins. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that is how I alchemize trauma and self-realizations of fear and guilt and shame and grief. And all of the details of how I'm going to get there into my new home, such as money, time, and location, are irrelevant. They are in my control, but also I'm going to let go of the control of that. What I am going to focus on is the energy, and that is why I love doing spell work like that. Because reading that to you, and every time I read that, it makes me feel so excited. It just fills my heart with so much joy, and I know that that joy is my heart activating, which is the North Star that is going to lead me into that new reality, into that quantum leap. It is going to break the curse of codependency that is keeping me feeling not worthy or small or scared about this new phase of my life. More exercises like that. There's another one that I'm going to do about my next romantic partnership, because I feel that I need to heal that and call in what I know that I am worthy of and what I know my heart and my soul is seeking in a partnership. So that's going to be my next spell work. But it's all about the energy. It's all about the energy and not allowing ourselves to get totally bogged down or swallowed by these trauma patterns, but rather celebrate them and say, do you know what? I am going to be the freaking curse breaker. And I'm going to do things my way. I did it my way. Oh, yeah, even the birds are singing with us today. The birds want us to break our curses. Oh. So I'd love to know, for those of you that are watching this, where you feel that the codependency curse has really showed up for you the most in your life. Is it to do with your work? Are you like codependent with your job? Is it with like your family? Do you feel really codependent on a parent or a sibling, a friend, a partner? Do you feel that you have constantly been used by people and that people have not shown up in your life who truly have your best intentions? Sometimes we can get a really amazing person come into our life, which I believe their role, their higher role, is also to come in to reflect to us and help us to break the curses of unhealthy relationship patterns. And I'm very grateful to have had a couple of those people in my life where they just come in and you're like, oh, okay, this is what a friendship relationship should feel like. And when you get those, please cherish them. Please, please cherish them and constantly just send that person love and gratitude. Because they're precious. They're precious. And whenever I feel bogged down or overwhelmed, coming into nature is the cure for that. Nature is also a curse breaker. Nature is wonderful because she just reflects our beauty back to us. And we no longer are mean to ourselves. We slow down and connect back in with our own natural rhythm, which mirrors that of our beautiful Mother Earth. So I hope you've enjoyed this wandering and pondering with me today. And I hope you can also see and reflect upon how my energy or my frequency has calmed and harmonized throughout this conversation. Number one, because I've vocalized and verbalized some of the realizations that have been very much in my head and my heart, but I've helped to release them by giving them space. But also from being outside in nature. Two incredible practices. And I'd love to receive some of your reflections in the comments. If there's anything I can do to support or help you with more videos or more conversations around this, around trauma patterns, childhood patterns, realizations, let me know, because I love sharing through my own experience about these things. If you find them helpful, it would be my honor. Before I just continue on my peaceful forest walk, I just wanted to let you know that I have been spending a lot of time doing some behind the scenes work. My website has had a few magical upgrades to it. I have some new pages on my website. I have now my Fantastical Life blog, which some of you, if you enjoy this content, you might enjoy. It's a very unfiltered flow of words. I don't add to it every day, a few times a week. So you can now find that on my website. And I've also, I'm stuck. I've also added a mini courses tab. You can now do your Awaken the Witch Within mini course, and also the new one, which is a really juicy one, Live Your Fantastical Life mini course. So this is the full masterclass, plus an inner child healing workshop, 3 meditations. You get 2 PDF workbooks and loads of introspective support, introspective support and questions. So it's really going to help you on your journey towards healing and expansion. So that's up there. Also, upcoming live training courses, that is now live on my website. And also there's more upcoming live workshops, masterclasses and events. Those are all really easy to find and navigate from my website now. Oops, I just got tangled in the microphone. So yeah, please do check it out. Let me know what you think, and sending you so much love. And I really just hope that you realize that having these moments of uncomfortable self-realization that feel like a really gross, hard pill to swallow are just a little stepping stone on your path to self-freedom and liberation. And that's truly what I want for you. Love, compassion, joy, freedom, liberation, whimsy, wonder and curiosity. All right, I love you.